All right, we're back here, Zach Gelb Show, outside of Arm & Hammer Park in beautiful Trenton, New Jersey, getting ready for the Trenton Thunder game coming up later tonight that you can hear right here on the flagship home of the Trenton Thunder, and that, of course, is Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. Big fight coming up tomorrow, and we really don't know what to expect out of it with two worlds colliding into the boxing universe. And you're going to have Floyd Mayweather up against Conor McGregor, boxing and UFC, and it's going to be a boxing match, and it's one with much anticipation, and I'm excited to see how it will play out tomorrow in Las Vegas. So let's go out to the phone line right now and welcome in a man that knows a lot about boxing, the Great White Hope, as they used to call him, 28-3, 24 knockouts, and that's the great Gerry Cooney, who's kind enough to hop on board with us right now. Gerry, appreciate a few minutes. Zach Gelb here in New Jersey. Thanks for the time, and how are you?
Hey, Zach, let me tell you something. My wife sent away a saliva, and you found out that my grandfather's mother was African-American. So it was a lie. I'm 9% African-American. Listen, we're out here in Vegas, and we're having a great time. It's crazy out here. The media's crazy. They're about to do the weigh-in. And listen, there's a lot of scenarios. Does Floyd Mayweather get old at 40? He hasn't fought in a couple of years. Is that going to be on his mind? Conor McGregor's a big, strong athlete, gymnast. He's got a great mouthpiece, as we've all heard him all these last bunch of months. And unfortunately, he's 0-0 as a fighter, and he's in there with one of the best guys of his era. Now, you know, Floyd Mayweather says he's bigger than a fighter, and he's right. He's making $300 million tomorrow night, and Conor McGregor's getting $100 million of his share. So it's a crazy scenario. These guys are great promoters. Unfortunately, in the long run, Mayweather is going to do what Mayweather does. He's going to break Conor McGregor down. Listen, Conor McGregor's awkward. He throws punches from different angles. And a pro like Floyd Mayweather will sit in the pocket, will watch him make mistakes. And as Conor McGregor gets tired, which he will, because it's not MMA, it's boxing, Floyd Mayweather will take over and start landing those counter right hands to the body and to the head and start peppering Conor McGregor and taking all his skills away from him.
Gerry, we'll get back to the fight in just a second, but I want to be polite here, and I have to say happy belated birthday. I understand it was your birthday yesterday.
Oh, thanks so much. You know, it's crazy. I got off the plane, and I had 200 messages on my – it's amazing. I feel grateful to know all these people are so special to me. And, yes, I turned 61 years old. I can't believe it. When I was 18, I was in the gym, and I just turned pro, and the old guy said, listen, be careful. Don't stay out late. Don't be drinking. And he clicked his finger, and he said, because it's going to go just like that. And I said, are you kidding me? I'm 18 years old. And that was 43 years ago.
And I grew up
Crazy.
on Long Island, so I know a lot of your legendary stories going back to Walt Whitman High School.
Wow.
Give me a little bit of the perspective and the view from you, how a Long Island kid made it to the success and the fame that one Gerry Cooney did come from.
You know, it's a great story, and I grew up in a rough, tough, alcoholic family, a lot of emotional and physical abuse. It made me so angry that I went to boxing and I got to express my anger through fighting. And then they put I remember being 16 years old, and in the back of the Daily News, every week when I fought, I was on the back page, with a win, and I won the middleweight championship, and that's how I became a fighter. It fed me, and it took care of my anger, and it made me somebody. And so I was able to stick with it and follow my dream. And it was a big dream, and I got very far in it. And I'm so grateful that, I regret not having – Don King owned all the heavyweights, and he wouldn't give me anybody to fight because he didn't want me to gain the experience to beat Holmes. And today I kind of look back and I'm grateful for that because I saved my brains. I made a lot of money, saved my brains. I did not reach the pinnacle of my sport, but I was in there with the number one heavyweight in the world. And for that, I'm so grateful.
How about that time period? Because you knock out Kenny Norton in the very memorable 54 seconds, even though it was a concise time in the ring. Then you take 13 months off, and we know you're training for that time to get ready for Larry Holmes and that fight at MSG. So how about when you knocked out Norton and then that long layoff until the fight up against Larry Holmes?
Well, that's what really killed me because, at that time, I was a very successful guy and people were pulling me here and pulling me there and just getting distracted. And the fight got postponed and I didn't fight for 13 months. And then I fight the heavyweight champ of the world and we didn't like each other very much. There was some black-white going on in there. But the biggest thing, Larry Holmes and I today are great friends. And the night of the fight, I just wanted to hit him. In the center of the ring, the referee gave us instructions. And Holmes said to me, let's have a good fight. And that's what true sportsmanship is about.
Gerry Cooney with us right now on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. When you first heard about this fight, because there's an unexpected element to it, because you have a UFC guy trying to be a boxer, what was that first reaction when you heard Mayweather and McGregor were going to actually do this fight?
Well, my first reaction was, is it in a cage? If it's in a cage, Mayweather doesn't have a chance. When I found out it was in the ring and you cannot kick and you cannot wrestle, I used to wrestle too. And it's a great sport to take somebody down and take their legs away from them. When it's boxing, you can't perform. MMA cannot perform against a boxer, especially at a guy at this level.
So do you view this fight then as a farce and just a moneymaker because of the fact that no one actually really truly believes besides McGregor that he could win this fight?
Well, I think it's not a farce. It's a thing that all fighters and MMA guys have been looking for. What happened? These two guys are great, great promoters, and now they're talking about Anthony Joshua fighting the heavyweight champion in MMA. So it's like a crossbreed, and it's not a fight. It's an event, and it's a big event, and we're hoping it's gonna, if Mayweather loses, it could set boxing back, but I don't think it's possible for him to lose. He's too fast. He's always in shape. Does he get old at 40? I don't think so. I think he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on his body, and he's always stayed in good shape. And I think Conor McGregor's not going to know what's going to hit him early on in the fight. McGregor's going to look good because Mayweather's going to be cautious and cover up and try and find openings and take the power and the sting out of McGregor. Once that happens, he'll take over like he does. I liken this fight to a Marcus Maidana fight. Marcus Maidana was on Mayweather for 6 rounds, won every round. Once he got tired, Mayweather took over and won the fight.
Does Mayweather at all try to, because of the sour taste of the Pacquiao fight, and I know he's talked about this and he said he's going to do it, but there's one thing to say it and then actually do it. Does he maybe go a little bit more on the attack and be a little bit more aggressive, which we haven't seen so far in his career?
Listen, Mayweather has made it this far, covering up, hiding, pot-shotting, being a smart guy. He's not going to make himself, especially not fighting for a couple of years, he's not going to take those risks, I don't believe, until Conor McGregor gets tired. Now, Conor McGregor is not a boxer. His hands are low. His body's open. He throws punches from different angles. So Mayweather's going to have a good time landing shots on him. And the smaller gloves. So that's a problem, too, for Conor McGregor. Although, Conor McGregor is a good puncher, Mayweather is very defensive. It's hard to hit him. And Conor McGregor is wide open. With those little 8-ounce gloves, it's going to create more damage to McGregor.
And we know if Floyd wins this fight, he would be 50-0, and that would break Rocky Marciano's record. A lot of people in the boxing community that I talk to don't react to that in the most receptive way because of some of the opponents late that Floyd Mayweather did pick. He waited so long with Manny Pacquiao and now has this fight up against McGregor. How would you feel about that element with Floyd tomorrow possibly breaking the record of the great Rocky Marciano?
Well, I disagree with that. I don't think it's really, you can't really count this as a fight, I don't think, in my opinion. Listen, there's a lot of guys that fought were undefeated a lot longer than 49 or 50, a lot of other fighters. And listen, you're right. He didn't have the greatest of talent like Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran in that era. So he's the best of his era. But there was a lot of lack of talent that he did not get to face. But that being said, listen, he is the biggest promoter. He's going to make himself $300 million to tomorrow night. It's a miracle.
So with that being said, where do you rank him amongst the all-time greats?
I think not as a fighter, as a promoter, as an athlete. Yes. Listen, he's a great fighter too, no doubt about it. He's not fan friendly as much because he's very defensive, and like guys like Ray Leonard, they throw tons of punches. This guy waits and is patient. But listen, you got to respect all he's done in the game.
Let me ask you this as we're talking to Gerry Cooney. I don't like Floyd Mayweather because of his misogynistic past, and that's well documented, and he's gone to jail for it. And that just rubs me the wrong way, the way that he has treated women, and it's just completely despicable. It feels like he gets a pass for some of those things in the past, whereas in another sports or other sports, if people do that, they're probably not in the sport anymore. Why do you think that he gets a pass the way that it looks like it from the outside perspective, someone like myself that doesn't watch every single boxing match?
Well, I like that question, and yes, he's been not the greatest of guys outside the ring. He's very abrasive. He's done dumb things before, but he's gone away to jail. But you got to sometimes turn the page, and I think that over time, he's really gotten cleaned up his act. He's helped bury some fighters that could not afford to be buried. He helps out the children. He's doing a lot of good too, and I think that we have to at some point give him a pass for that. Those were years ago when we were maybe young and pretty dumb, but he's come around a lot. He's doing a lot of great things for the small people and for the people that struggle, and you gotta pat him on the back for that.
Let me ask you this as well, since I am a younger person in my 20s, and for some reason boxing doesn't resonate greatly with people in their 20s now as it once did many, many years ago. As someone that knows the sport better than most, why is that? Why do you think boxing isn't as popular as it once was?
Well, I think that, for years, boxing and boxers got raped and robbed. And you watch the fights, and the guys that won didn't get the decisions, and there were mismatches, and everything got messed up. But Don King was around, was not the greatest thing for the fight game. But I'm telling you, I'm on the radio. I'm on Sirius XM every Monday, every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Channel 93, and I follow the game. And boxing is great right now. There's a lot of great talent in all the divisions, not just in, middleweights or heavyweights or light heavyweights, cruiserweights are big, welterweights, junior welterweights. And Terrence Crawford fought last week, looked sensational. Errol Spence just beat Kell Brook over in England. So there's so many great fights out there now. And if you just tell the fans out there, look online, look at Boxing Scene, look at Max Boxing, look at ESPN Boxing. And so if you just follow that for a while, it's so exciting, the personalities and the life stories of these guys that are fighting every day to help become champions of the world.
Gerry, I know you got to run, so I'll end you on this. If, let's say, you trained to be a UFC fighter, what would the UFC version of Gerry Cooney look like?
Well, I have a wrestling background. I grew up since the 5th grade. I wrestled through high school. So, I know wrestling is great. When you take somebody down, you take a lot of their strengths away from them. And I also was a big puncher. So, listen, that's not for me. I mean, I'm an MMA guy. I love boxing. It's interesting to watch. But these guys are kicking knees to the head, elbows to the face. I mean, it's just, to me, it's too brutal. And who knows what happens to these guys later on in their life, taking knees to the head. You know what I mean? So I'm not really a big fan of it. It's exciting. Sometimes I'm interested in this fight because I want to see how the corners break it down, how they make adjustments. But for me, I'm a fight fan all the way through and through.
Well, Gerry, enjoy the fight. Once again, happy belated birthday, and enjoy the time in Vegas. We appreciate it, my friend.
Listen, thank you so much for having me on. I love being with you guys.
Thank you so much. The great Gerry Cooney right there with us on the Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. I just can't give Floyd Mayweather a pass at all. I just can't. This guy is a bad guy. He's a misogynistic monster. He's been to jail before. Even though he's done great things for the sport, and even though he's made a lot of money and he's a heck of a fighter, I just can't give him a pass. I can't pat him on the back because this is a bad dude. And this is why it's not going to happen. But I would love to see Conor McGregor beat the living crap out of Floyd Mayweather. I would love to see it because Floyd would deserve that beating for his misogynistic past. And I just can't root for Floyd Mayweather. And I think some of the coverage on this fight has been nauseating. Yes, it's been exciting. The first and second press conferences were fun. That, all right, it gets a little bit too excessive. But some of these interviews, ESPN, how they buddy up and basically smooch and French kiss Floyd Mayweather, it's sickening. And how they treat him like, oh, let me genuflect to the great Floyd Mayweather. This guy is a jerk. He's a bad dude that hits women. So why would you want to buddy up and be friends with Floyd frickin' Mayweather? I hope McGregor kicks his ass, but it's not going to happen. A UFC fighter is not going to, I shouldn't say couldn't beat a boxer, but he's not going to beat a boxer that is 49-0 and on the cusp of being 50-0 and beating and surpassing Rocky Marciano's record. It's just not going to happen. So I hope this thing goes long, but just because it goes long does not mean it will be great. I really do hope Floyd Mayweather is on the attack and is aggressive, but I have a feeling he'll wear down McGregor as this match does go on inside the ring, and he'll continue to be that defense fighter that he is, a great defense fighter. There's no denying that. But it was very good to have Gerry Cooney on, and you could tell there's a separation when you look at Mayweather the fighter compared to the other greats. But then you also factor in what he's done for the sport and the promotional side of it, and it carries a lot of clout when you break this thing down. But come on, he's not in the same conversation as some of the great fighters. And especially, I don't want to hear anyone when he beats McGregor tomorrow night go 50-0, he's the GOAT. Because if you say 50-0, he's the GOAT, you don't know a damn thing what you're talking about. Because Muhammad Ali is the GOAT. He's the greatest. So I'm 23 years old. I understand that. I'm talking to my generation who loves to use the word the GOAT. Don't be foolish. Don't have a named behavior tomorrow and tweet out the GOAT and have the GOAT emoji. Because if you call Floyd Mayweather the GOAT of boxing, and I'm not this boxing aficionado, you have no clue what you're talking about. Respect to Floyd for being 50-0, what he will be. Respect to Floyd for what he's done from the promotional side. But this guy is not the GOAT. Because Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer of all time. And it's not even up for debate. And I hope FS1, ESPN, on Monday, they don't do that stupid, bloviating nonsense on the radio and on the television. Oh, do you think Floyd Mayweather being 50-0, does it make him the greatest boxer of all time? I really hope they don't put themselves in that petulant behavior. But yeah, I think the best thing for this fight would be a knockout in 7 or 8 rounds. That would be the best thing from the Mayweather side. From a outsider, the best thing would be that McGregor finds a way to knock out Mayweather. That would be great because no one expects that to happen. It would be a great moment. It would be a moment of much exuberance. But how I probably see this fight going on, the last thing you want, this thing goes the distance. And it's not that entertaining. And it's a pedestrian fight. And it's just dancing and dancing and dancing. McGregor swinging and missing. So if you want to have this be the next best outcome, other than the fact with McGregor winning, what you do is Mayweather in like round 8 delivers a knockout blow. Now that would be really entertaining. But I'm looking forward to this fight tomorrow, even though I believe McGregor has 0 chance, or let me save myself here, a 0.000000001% chance. I will watch it. I will buy the fight. I'm not just going to wait to see the recap on Twitter, but you can see everything these days via Twitter. But I will buy that fight tomorrow and try to have my friends pay for it. I will get a lot of wings, a lot of beer, and I hope that I'll be entertained by it. So very fun to have Gerry Cooney join us live from Las Vegas. The Great White Hope, 28-3, 24 fights he won by knockout. 609-9199-D200. Zach Gelb Show.